No? Can you go back? No, you can't? Okay, there we go. What did you learn from giving up your dream career? Given my current employment, this was not it. Sorry. None of us grew up dreaming of being brokers. Let's all be honest with ourselves. I grew up dreaming of being an actor, and I was lucky enough in my 20s to actually get to do that. Trust me, luck had a lot to do with it, but it was a lot of hard work to get lucky. So I started acting in high school. That's me, my first role, Romeo, 16, looking all of 12 years old. I did every single play after that. I went and studied at UCLA. I majored in theater and acting. I studied every day for 4 years, doing very strange things with strange people, being a strange person myself, before I started doing it professionally. And then I probably did 1,000 auditions. I got on Nickelodeon, CW, Comedy Central, did some pilots for ABC. I did a couple of movies. I did a movie with Jane Seymour, Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, for those of you. Anyways, thank you. Yeah, she was fantastic. That movie actually got a theatrical release, so like silver screen in tens of cities to very empty theaters, grossed thousands of dollars. The movie did not do well. And you can tell from my self-deprecation, I am simultaneously proud of all this stuff, and at the same time, I did not achieve my dream. And that's probably because I don't think I defined my dream very well for myself. If you'd asked me at the time what my dream was, I would have said to be a working actor, to have a career as a storyteller. But deep down inside, what I wouldn't say out loud is that I wanted to be a big star. And I always told myself if at 30, I wasn't on the rocket ship or like least next in line, that I would take a step back and reassess. Before we get to the fun part of the story where I kill my dream and just smother it with a pillow, I thought I'd share just a couple quick lessons that I learned that I still think of today. And these are all actually lessons from auditioning, which is the vast majority of the time that I spent acting. Oh God, I'm not making 5 minutes, sorry everybody. All my friends were like, there's no way you're doing this in 5 minutes, and you guys are right. Okay, so here are the three lessons. Being with no, I probably had 150 auditions getting turned down before I got my first job. I got told no the vast majority of that career, and I learned, kind of like Saul said, being told no, failure, that is just the price of admission for doing anything that's worth doing. So thick skin. 2, getting too busy for big deals. That's a stupid sentence, but let me explain it. So my first job was on a Nickelodeon show called iCarly, and yeah, young people. The callback for that job, which is like the final audition, was like a really big deal for me. I was like, I really want to get this job. But that callback happened to fall on a day that I had an audition before and right after. So as much as I really wanted to like put my all into this really big deal, I was like, I'm busy. Like I got to do these other things. I can't hedge on this one thing. So I showed up. The first one, did that one, showed up to the callback, did that, got out of there, got to the next one, and moved on. And then I got that role. And up to that point in my life, best week of my life, shooting a real show on a real set. And after the end of that week, the showrunner came up to me and he said, hey, listen, I heard this is your first job on TV. If I had known that, I probably wouldn't have given you the job. But I'm glad that I didn't know that, because you did a fantastic job and you're gonna make it, kid. Which was really meaningful to me at the time. That was Dan Schneider, so if you know anything about Nickelodeon, that didn't age well, and neither did his prediction, because if you know, you know. And then the third one, this is the most important one to me, so the business behind the yes or the no. I had a really fantastic acting teacher, Brad Greenquist, at the end of my career, and you'd always say actors often make the mistake of thinking that the most important thing that's happening in an audition is whether they hear yes or whether they hear no, this desperate pick-me energy. And he said, that's not what's actually happening in an audition. In an audition, there is a business problem. that needs to be solved. This important production company is about to mount a very expensive movie or TV show, and they can't do that because they don't know who should play this role. And so they're spending even more money to try to figure that out. And they're bringing all these actors in who are, please pick me. And that's not what's really going on. They're trying to solve a business problem. So it's not about you. It's not about your yes or your no. It's about the opportunity to show them, this is how I would solve your business problem. And then you leave. Which is a really important lesson, and I probably heard it a little bit too late, because by the time I was 29, I learned how to change the slide. By the time I was 29, I did think it was about me, and the no's were really getting under my skin. And I had really started to question whether my life mattered. Pair that with what was turning into a serious drinking and drug problem, a really toxic relationship, and I was keeping the dream alive, but my life was falling apart. So I turned 30, and I took a step back, and I took my dream, and I grabbed a pillow, and I just... and I killed my dream. I'm not naked. So I killed my dream, but I survived. And I started to build a life. I got sober. And then I started working in healthcare technology. If I could, I would. So drink for me. I started working in healthcare technology. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I was starting to do work that actually mattered to me. I met the woman who would become my wife and the mother to my kids. And I built a life that matters. This is the part of the story where I was like, Saul really stole my thunder. He did it better than me. But I built a life that matters. And I know I started to say this was not my dream career, but it's a really fantastic career for me, because at the end of the day, I can look at the work that I do and think this matters. And I think we're all getting to do that to a degree. We're protecting businesses so that they can employ the people in our community that we know. We're protecting their financial futures, and we're helping them get in touch with the healthcare that they need. This is the stuff in life. Our jobs, our finances, and our health. And I would say, those are the three things that let me do this. And so what I learned from giving it my dream career is that I will take a life that matters over a dream any day.